Next at 5:30 tonight on News 7 Weekend.
Hundreds greet the dawn in honor of the Day of Resurrection.
Residents of Juarez spend this Easter Sunday working with police to try to bring an end to the series of murders there, and they discover yet another body.
And Estela Casas brings us word of a new weapon in the fight against heart disease.
For those stories and all of the day's news,
stay right here. News 7 Weekend is next.
Still warmer temperatures ahead. The forecast later, but the news is next.
Live from the news station. KVIA 7. Stephanie Townsend Allala. Shelton Dodson. This is News 7 Weekend.
Easter dawns on El Paso, and Christians of all denominations come together to celebrate.
Good evening, and thank you for choosing News 7 Weekend on this Easter Sunday.
The cold temperatures did not keep the faithful from traditional outdoor ceremonies this morning. Several people woke before dawn to come to the 73rd annual Easter sunrise service in the McKelligan Amphitheater. The non-denominational service filled the morning air with singing and rejoicing, and a message asking those in attendance what Jesus Christ means in their lives.
It was a very inspiring morning. I think we had an outstanding program, an outstanding speaker, a very inspirational message for all of us.
And another Easter morning tradition continues in El Paso. St. Pius X Catholic Church celebrated its sunrise mass at 6 o'clock this morning. The St. Pius 70 Voice Choir led the singing, and Father Rick Matty recounted the story of Jesus Christ's resurrection.
Another victim is discovered in the Juarez Desert, which has come to be known as a gravesite for murdered young women. That brings the total count to 8 so far since the beginning of March, strongly suggesting a serial killer remains on the loose. News 7's Alex Delgado joins us now from the border just a few miles from where these bodies have been discovered. Alex.
That's right, Sheldon. Only about 5 miles into the Anapra Desert, right across the river from where I'm standing, 8 bodies have been discovered in the past 4 weeks. Juarez residents took matters into their own hands and began their own search this Easter Sunday, searching for more bodies. And much to their dismay, they found what they were looking for. Victim number 8 was unearthed around 1 o'clock this afternoon in northwest Juarez in the Lomas de Poleo desert area, close to where the other 7 bodies were found. Juarez residents using CBs radioed police officers, telling them they had discovered the skeletal remains of another young woman. After officers searched the area, they found some of her belongings, including an ID. Rosario Garcia Leal, believed to be in her mid-20s, worked at the Phillips Maquila. Police also discovered some clothing they believed belonged to Leal. Juarez officers say the identification of this victim may help further in their investigation, which up until now has remained at a standstill. This is the first victim to be identified. Meanwhile, residents have decided to continue with their own search, saying that Juarez officers are just dragging their feet and not doing all that they should be.
Alex, there is a man currently in the Cerezo prison who's suspected of being a serial murderer. What's his standpoint right now?
Sheldon, Egyptian engineer Sharif remains in jail, charged with 4 other similar murders in the Lote Bravo south of Juarez last summer. But a judge recently ruled there was not enough evidence to hold Sharif, and lawyers expect him to be released anytime soon. So police continue their investigation into the possibility of a copycat killer. So, of course, there is a chance that Sharif may not be the original killer. Back to you.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much.
Well, tonight, News 7 joins with the El Paso Police Department in profiling 2 of the city's most wanted criminals. Tonight's profile includes 70-year-old Jose Francisco Zavala. He is being sought on charges of injury to a child. He is described as 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighing 145 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes.
Also on today's most wanted list is 26-year-old Walter Ned Baker. He is wanted on 11 counts of forgery. Baker is described as 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing 135 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. As always, if you have any information on these or any of the other suspects profiled on News 7, please call the El Paso Police Department at 564-6900. Emergency hazardous material teams were sent out to the airport for a possible chemical spill this afternoon.
America West workers found a small package leaking an unknown substance. Several workers complained of dizziness and a glue smell. The building was evacuated for the workers' protection.
We are trying to identify the product at this time. We have our entry members ready to go in and to try to, from the paperwork, try to identify the product. At that time, we'll make a determination and some course of action.
Several employees had to go through a decontamination process, which included being washed down in a series of pools. Officials say this was a precautionary measure.
Well, 2 more days until the primary runoff, and experts say whether voters stay home or go to the polls will decide who wins the races. News 7's Cornel Romero spoke with a political science professor and has this election preview.
By now, many El Pasoans are familiar with the Democratic runoff race between Jose Luis Sanchez and Silvestre Reyes. According to recent polls, the two are in a statistical dead heat, making the race for the District 16 congressional seat an interesting one, and that could make more people come out and vote this Tuesday.
The turnout normally depends upon the number of hot races that are out there, and the feeling that, therefore, that people have a stake in the election outcome.
Neighbor says voter turnout will directly affect the Reyes-Sanchez race.
If there's a light turnout, I think Reyes is in. If there's a heavy turnout, then I think Sanchez probably will make it.
Even though this race is probably the most publicized, there are other hotly contested races on the ballot, including the race for U.S. Senate between John Bryant and Victor Morales. Neighbor predicts Bryant will prevail in that race. The nomination for the District 76 state Senate seat is also up for grabs between Nacho Padilla and Norma Chavez. And in the District 29 state Senate nomination, Elliot Shapley and Hector Villa are battling.
Everything that I've heard from those doing the studies suggests that Shapley is well ahead of that race.
There are 4 other offices listed on the Democratic primary and 8 on the Republican ballot. Cornel Romero, News 7.
A reminder, the polls open at 7 a.m. on Tuesday.
You would have had a hard time convincing anybody on Friday that this Easter Sunday was going to look as good as it
Boy,
did.
we've had a couple of nice warm-ups over the last 2 days. A little cool this morning for the Easter sunrise services, and right now we've got a few clouds moving in, but certainly not of the rain-making variety. These are coming from a ridge of high pressure that's covering much of the western states, and that will leave us with fair skies. In other words, high and mid-level clouds tonight, the low 44. A mostly sunny Monday ahead, warmer still, the high 77. Stephanie?
Thanks, Gary. We are now 7 minutes into our newscast as we bring you 10 straight minutes of news. Well, modern doctors have an arsenal of weapons against heart disease.
But for some patients, heart problems keep coming back no matter what kind of drugs, diets, or operations are prescribed. Tonight, News 7's Estella Casas tells us about a new approach which could save your life.
The past 9 years of Joy's life have been stolen from her by heart disease. She had a heart attack when she was just 25 years old.
Joy has a unique condition in which her body does not handle cholesterol and normal fats in a way that most of our bodies do.
Joy's arteries became clogged, choking off her heart's blood supply. Minor tasks became exhausting and painful.
I was grocery shopping in a wheelchair.
Her life became a series of new diets, drugs, and operations. Doctors tried a heart bypass to get around the clogs. They tried to force open the arteries 13 times, but Joy's arteries just plugged up again.
I was at a point in my life there was nothing left, and I was deteriorating daily.
Then doctors tried a new procedure called TMR. With a laser, doctors drilled dozens of tiny channels in Joy's heart wall. The outer wall healed, but pressure inside the heart keeps the channels open on the inside.
So that instead of the entire channel being left open, say 3/4 of it are open, and blood comes from inside the left ventricle and diffuses into the heart muscle.
The perforated heart muscle now soaks up oxygen like a sponge. It's no longer dependent on the arteries, and Joy is no longer dependent on a wheelchair.
I even lifted a bag and put it in the car the other day before I knew it, and I was like, wow, that was heavy. And I was able to do that. You know, I got my little chest stuck out now.
Now there's no telling what Joy may be able to do. Estella Casas, News 7 Healthcast.
Joy has shown remarkable progress of the few months since the TMR procedure. Doctors hope TMR may one day be a common alternative to repeated bypass surgeries.
Well, although the clocks say we are an hour ahead today, it may take a while before our bodies get used to the change, and doctors warn of dangers caused by the loss of that 1 hour of sleep. For some people, this lack of sleep can be dangerous, especially when they're on the road because of an increase in clumsiness. Doctors' studies show there is a big increase in traffic accidents the day after daylight savings time. However, one El Paso doctor says the effects of this 1 hour time change usually just take 1 day to recuperate.
Physiologically, a day or so. I mean, sociologically, in terms of feeling good about it, depends on whether you have a positive attitude towards it or a negative attitude towards it.
Walsh advises people to get to bed early tonight in order to avoid drowsiness tomorrow.
Residents in Juarez are also feeling the effects of today's time change. Along with El Paso, Juarez was also affected by the time change that required them to spring their clocks forward an hour. From now on, Juarez will always be an hour ahead of El Paso. Juarez, along with all of Mexico, is adopting Central Standard Daylight Savings Time.
Well, unidentified flying objects invaded El Paso's airwaves this morning.
Border Talk radio show took a break from its usual fare of people and politics and tackled the unearthly topic of UFOs. Guests on the show included researchers on the subject and one person who claims to have had an abduction experience. Experts on the subject say that the topic of UFOs is not taken seriously enough, particularly by federal government researchers.
And here is a case where now with so-called UFOs where we have had witnesses by the thousands, not only in our own age, but going back over many centuries.
Exactly.
And yet all of this is discounted.
Roswell, New Mexico's Mayor Tom Jennings phoned into the show this morning to explain how his city has dealt with the issue of UFOs, the Roswell incident, and other unexplained happenings.
We're now 11.5 minutes into our newscast, and that makes at least 10 straight minutes of news.
Stay with us. Guaranteed weather with Gary Mundy is straight ahead. After the Easter Bunny delivered goodies overnight, he made a hop drop with some other furry creatures.
A trip to the zoo is next, but we'll get our first look at the work week forecast. Gary Monday's next with Guaranteed Weather.
And now, News 7 weather with Gary Monday.
Couldn't have asked for a much better Easter Sunday. Very little wind and much warmer temperatures than yesterday. Yesterday's high 56. Robert Bettis, though, thinking it might get to 71 today, was only 3 degrees off. Now $91 in the News 7 bank. And thanks to Robert for filling in so I can enjoy a little Easter time with the family a day early. Here's a look at the satellite picture and a ridge of high pressure in the west with clouds above the high and then pushing south toward the El Paso area. But as we mentioned, these are not of the rain-making variety, high and mid-level clouds mostly, so we'll see them around tonight. Probably not as many tomorrow. The significant weather makers in the northeastern states. Here it is, Easter Sunday, April 7th, and we're talking significant amounts of snow possible. Already rain changing over to snow in Boston. A couple Major League Baseball games postponed earlier today in New York City and Philadelphia due to the inclement weather. This is also a mixture of rain and snow in the nation's midsection, becoming mostly rain as we move to the south. A few thunderstorms down in Florida, but out west, mostly clear skies. Some virga in northeastern New Mexico and the panhandle of Texas. Some showers in south central Texas. San Antonio this morning, a record tying 35 the low. 36 tied a record at Tyler. 19 at Cincinnati. On the other end of the spectrum, 73 in Seattle today, a record high. Our high 68, the morning low a cool 35, normal 76 and 46, records 92 and 26. Tomorrow's surface map shows high pressure in northeastern Texas and a ridge of high pressure in the west will keep us mostly clear. Cold front approaches the northwestern states, actually in the western states, with a few showers in the extreme northwest and also in the southeastern part of the country. But again, a rain-snow mix in the northeast is going to be the big weather maker. Highs there tomorrow, only in the 40s. They've already postponed the season opener for the Red Sox tomorrow, Shelton, because of the expected snow. 50s and 60s in the southeast, 70s in Florida and South Texas. A big area of of 80s in the southwest, even some 90s in southern Arizona. Highs in the region tomorrow, 76 at Midland, 82 at Presidio, 74 at Albuquerque, 73 at Austin, down to 40 at Sierra Blanca tonight, 37 at Alamogordo, 38 at Deming. They'll warm to 80 tomorrow, 79 at Sierra Blanca, 78 at TRC, 67 at Guadalupe Pass. Outside now, we have fair skies, some high and mid-level clouds. Temperature 67, a west breeze at 6, falling barometer 20% humidity, dew point 25 degrees. Metro forecast tonight, fair skies. Becoming mostly sunny tomorrow, 79 in Ciudad Juarez, 78 at Santa Teresa and at Clint. Light wind for us tonight in the low 44 degrees. Tomorrow, a mostly sunny day on tap, looking good with a much warmer high of 77. A no watering day, of course. 85 by Wednesday. The breezes return Wednesday and Thursday, but you wouldn't think, as you said, Shelton, that we were in the 30s most of the day Friday with those numbers.
And you said the Red Sox are postponed?
Already.
The way they've been playing, we'll chalk that up as a win.
W.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
Sure.
When we come back, we'll have more on the Coronado T-Birds.
Yes, those state champs return home. Renee Romo has that and lots more on News 7 Sports.
And now, News 7 Sports with Renee Romo.
The new state champs are back in town. Yesterday, the Coronado boys soccer team made history by becoming the first El Paso soccer team to win a state title. We will pay tribute to the champs a little later in sports. But first, we begin with golf. El Paso and Paul Stankowski trying to get to Augusta to get to the Masters. Stanko would have to win the Bell South today. Wouldn't be easy. He'd have to go to a playoff hole. Never had to do that in his career. Before he got there, though, on 14. Nice birdie. Takes a 2-stroke lead. But at 18, Bradell Chambly birds. Stank does the same. We got co-leaders, and they are going to sudden death. We go to the first playoff hole.
It's just going to you could hit this with the head cover on. How about ending it that way?
That's going to do it. Stankowski wins it. After the win, he talked about playing with the big boys of golf.
Won last week. Now you're coming to the big show. You won here. What was that like out there today?
It was a lot of fun. You know, Fred's a great guy to play with, and I was really looking forward to playing with him. And he's so laid back and la-di-da, and I kind of try and take the same approach, and it really helped playing with him today. And I just got to praise God for this on Easter Sunday. Amen. And this is great.
He's on a roll. Back-to-back wins with today's win. Stankowski pockets $234,000. Not bad for playing golf this weekend. It is his first tour win. To the NBA, Spurs at the Lakers, and here comes LA. Off the steal. Nick Van Exel finds Eddie Jones for the hoop and the foul. Late in the game, Magic Johnson, Vlade, Divac, and Lakers to go on to win it by a final of 107-97. Baseball, the El Paso Diablos are at home playing Wichita in a doubleheader right now. The score we have for you in the early game, the teams are knotted up at 2 apiece in the bottom of the fourth. Yesterday, the two teams also played a double bill and split the twin bill. In the bigs, look who's back. Doc Gooden on the bump for the Yankees against the Rangers, playing in his first big league game since June of '94. Gooden goes for 5 innings against the last unbeaten team in the bigs, and he's going to take a loss too. Rangers win it 7-2. They improve to 5-0 this season. Finally, it is time to pay tribute to the state's new soccer champions. Yesterday, the Coronado boys put El Paso on the soccer map for good after capturing the boys' championship.
They never gave up. They were very focused on their goal.
24-0, state champs. There's not a lot of people that can do that. Let the games begin.
You want to pull through for, bring El Paso a state championship.
So you haven't had enough yet?
No, not yet, not even.
The Coronado boys wanted to accomplish 2 things this season. 1, go undefeated, and 2, get a state championship. To get both of those today, they'd have to get past these guys. Plano, the defending state champs.
They think they got it won, man. Let's show what's up.
They qualify.
one, boys.
Number one, baby.
They worked really hard for this and deserved it.
We came here together. We're going out together, champions.
After that great win, they told me they actually had 3 goals. 1, go undefeated. 2, get that state championship. 3, get the Team of the Week award. I'm going to have to work on Lou. Let's see if we can do that.
Probably not going to have a problem with that one. Thanks, Renee.
Thanks a lot, Renee. Well, there's more to come on News 7.
The Easter Bunny has a hairy encounter where the wild things are.
Here's a look at the News 7 community calendar. The West Side Welcome Club holding their annual fundraiser Wednesday at El Paso Country Club with the luncheon, style show, all kinds of entertainment, including a silent auction. 585-3158 or 585-8944 for information. Stay with us. 78, 77 we'll call it. Breezy Wednesday and Thursday.
Thanks, Gary. The Easter Bunny wasn't just visiting children today. He made some time to burrow with the beasts.
The Easter Bunny spent much of the morning at the El Paso Zoo. Dozens of children filled the zoo to catch a glimpse of the big bunny, and they also got a chance to play with the live Easter Bunny. Now, because many children receive bunnies or other Easter pets as gifts, zoo educators say it's important that they realize how important it is to take care of them.
Trying to educate people on the fact that getting a pet for Easter, like a baby rabbit or a baby chick, baby ducks, isn't always the greatest thing to do, because a lot of times people buy them on impulse and then they don't realize what they have to do to take care of them.
The visit gave the children a chance to find out how all the other furry creatures spend their Easter day at the zoo.
How'd you spend your furry day?
Riding a plane home.
Still catching up.
All right, thanks for joining us.
We'll see you tonight about 10:40 after the 10 Commandments. We'll see you then.
Thanks, good night.